Hello friends and welcome to Star Tears. Today, we honor the lives of 6 extraordinary individuals who passed away on November 2, 2025. Every life has a story. Every story carries influence. In this episode, we will explore the journeys, challenges, and achievements of these 6 remarkable people. Life is fleeting, but stories remain. Let's begin with the first of these unforgettable lives. Claude Bébéar was a French businessman and the founder of AXA, one of the largest insurance companies in the world. Claude Bébéar was born on July 29, 1935, in Issac, a small village in the Dordogne region of southwestern France. His parents were school teachers, and from an early age he absorbed the values of education, discipline, and public service. Yet his path would lead not to the classroom, but to the battlefields of business, to an industry that few then considered glamorous, and in time helping build one of the world's largest insurance groups. After secondary school, Bébéar entered the prestigious École Polytechnique, where he studied engineering and mathematics. Though he described his own performance modestly, entering 4th, graduating second to last, he left with a keen intellect and a desire to carve his own route. Post-military service in Algeria, he turned his attention to the insurance industry. In 1958, he joined Ancienne Mutuelle in Rouen, a small regional mutual insurer, at a time when insurance in France was still largely domestic, unglamorous, and under the radar. In 1974, Bébéar became general manager of the company. Under his leadership, the company took a dramatically different course. He embraced external growth, international expansion, and bold deals. In 1985, the name AXA was adopted, chosen by computer so that it could be pronounced easily in any language, and the company's ambition was clear: to become a global leader in insurance. Over the next decade and beyond, Bébéar led AXA through a series of strategic acquisitions. In France, in the United States, in Australia, National Mutual, in the United Kingdom, Guardian Royal Exchange, and in Japan, Nippon Dantai, among others. His goal, which he publicly stated, was to rank AXA among the top 10 global insurers by the year 2000, an objective that he achieved by the turn of the century. His leadership style blended what he called democrature, a mixture of participative decision-making and clear authority. Executives were encouraged to debate options, but once a decision was made, they were expected to follow it without delay. He was known for intense ambition, earning the nickname Crocodile Claude in some business circles, a reference to his predator-like appetite for deals. Beyond business, Bébéar believed in the social responsibilities of corporations. He founded the think tank Institut Montaigne in 2001, focused on public policy, education, social cohesion, and competitiveness. On November 4, 2025, Claude Bébéar passed away at the age of 90. His death was announced in a statement by AXA and widely covered by French and international media. Tributes noted his role as the godfather of French capitalism, a phrase that captured how deeply his ambitions had shaped the Paris business world. Stuart William Boam was someone who wore the shirt like a badge of honor, not just for the club he represented, but for every fan, every teammate, every child dreaming of one day stepping onto the pitch. Born on 28 January 1948 in Kirkby-in-Ashfield, England, Boam was raised in a mining town where football offered a glimpse of something greater. For many young boys in Nottinghamshire, the local club meant community and hope. For Boam, it became his path. From a young age, he showed talent and dedication. He joined the youth ranks of Mansfield Town, and in July 1966, at the age of 18, he signed his first professional contract. His debut followed on 12 May 1967 against Leyton Orient, the final day of the 1966-67 season. From that moment on, Boam's rise was steady and intentional. By the 1968-69 and 1969-70 seasons, he was a fixture in Mansfield's defense, reliable, hard-working, and calm under pressure. One highlight came in February 1969 when Mansfield stunned West Ham United 3-0 in the FA Cup's 5th round, a memory that fans still share. In June 1971, his talent took him to Middlesbrough FC for a fee of $50,000. Almost. Immediately, he was placed in the first 11, and by 1973 he was named club captain, one of the youngest to hold that role. His leadership showed not in loud commands but in consistency and grit. He knew when to challenge, when to lead by example, and when to simply roll up his sleeves and do the work. Over 8 years, he made over 300 league appearances and helped guide Middlesbrough to the second division title in 1974. Fans still recall the chant, 6'2", eyes of blue, Stewie Boam is after you. It captured more than his stature. It captured his presence on the field. Strong, focused, alert, courageous. In August 1979, Boam moved to local rivals Newcastle United FC for $170,000, a significant transfer at the time. He donned black and white, made 69 league appearances, and brought his trademark style to the side. But injury and age began to creep in, and after 2 seasons he opted to return to where his career had begun. In 1981, he went back to Mansfield Town not just as a player, but as a player-manager. His managerial tenure was short and challenging. A back injury limited him to just 15 appearances in his second stint at Mansfield. By January 1983, he was relieved of his duties. A brief spell at Hartlepool United followed, where he played 1 final league game before retiring later that year. But the end of his playing career did not mean the end of his story. To fans and teammates, he remained one of us, the rugged, central defender who had never forgotten his roots, the man who rose from Nottinghamshire to become a club captain and a fan favorite. Off the pitch, he ran a newsagent's and worked for Kodak in photo labs, showing that life after football could be grounded and humble. On 4 November 2025, Stuart William Boam passed away at the age of 77 after a lengthy illness. Dominik Jaroslav Duka was a man whose life reflected courage, conviction, and an unshakable belief in truth. Born on April 26, 1943, in Hradec Králové at the time under Nazi occupation, he grew up in a world shaped by fear and silence. Yet, even as a child, Duka learned something that would define his whole life. Some values are worth defending, even when the cost is high. He trained as a young man in a factory trade, working as a locksmith, but his heart belonged elsewhere. In 1968, the same year, Soviet tanks rolled into Czechoslovakia. He secretly entered the Dominican order and began his path toward priesthood. 2 years later, he was ordained. During that time, communism controlled every public institution, including churches. To think differently was dangerous. To speak out could destroy your future. In 1975, the communist state revoked his license to minister as a priest. It was meant to silence him. Instead, Duka simply moved into the shadows. He worked at the Skoda factory by day, fixing machinery and blending in with workers. But at night, behind closed doors, he continued his mission, celebrating Mass in private apartments, teaching theology underground, and offering spiritual support to those who refused to give up their faith. In 1981, he was arrested for anti-state religious activity and spent months in Bory prison. There, he met other dissidents, including Václav Havel, a man who would later become president of a free Czech Republic. In a place built to break spirits, Duka strengthened his resolve. His belief was simple. Faith is not something the government can take away. When the communist system collapsed in 1989, Duka stepped out of the underground and into the new world that emerged. In 1993, he became Bishop of Hradec Králové. In 2010, he was appointed Archbishop of Prague, the highest Catholic position in the country. 2 years later, Pope Benedict XVI made him a cardinal, one of the most significant honors in the Catholic Church. His leadership was not symbolic. Under his guidance, the Church in the Czech Republic won a landmark legal and financial agreement to reclaim property seized by the communist regime decades earlier. It was one of the biggest restitutions in the country's history. Some praised him as a negotiator. Others criticized him for holding conservative positions, and for his involvement in political debates. But whether people agreed with him or not, no one doubted his strength. He had spent too many years fighting for the right to speak. He would not silence himself now. Despite his political influence, Duka remained a pastor at heart. He believed in discipline, responsibility, and service. He mentored young priests, supported Catholic education, and reminded Czech society, one of the most secular in Europe, that faith is not a relic of the past, but a living force. On November 4, 2025, Dominik Jaroslav Duka passed away at the age of 82. Giorgio Forattini was an artist of satire whose pen spared no one: politicians, popes, business magnates, the powerful, and the privileged. Born on March 14, 1931, in Rome, Italy, he entered a world still reeling from war and its aftermath. But instead of shaping buildings or armies, he shaped perceptions, using laughter as his weapon and caricature as his mirror. From the beginning, Forattini knew how to see beneath the surface. He studied graphic design and worked various odd jobs, from refineries to appliance sales, before his true craft found him: his first forays into newspaper. Cartooning came in the early 1970s with Panorama and Paese Sera, and by 1974 he had published his first major collection. He later contributed to the influential daily La Repubblica, satirical magazine Il Male, and the conservative Il Giornale, among others. Forattini's style was undeniably sharp. He transformed public figures into symbols: Bettino Craxi dressed as Mussolini, Massimo D'Alema depicted as Hitler in ironic communist uniform, Silvio Berlusconi drawn in his underwear. His cartoons, around 14,000 in his lifetime, formed a mosaic of Italy's modern political history. Yet his satire was not merely shock. Forattini believed in the freedom to mock, to question, to hold power accountable. In one interview he said, "I hate fundamentalism. I can't stand a party that professes whoever is not with me is against me." This view guided his career and often put him at odds with the subjects of his jests. Despite public acclaim, his path was not without controversy. Legal threats, lawsuits, and editorial clashes followed many of his cartoons. His 2001 depiction of the Mitrokin affair brought about a lawsuit by then Prime Minister D'Alema. The dispute ended his long association with La Repubblica and led him to shift to other outlets. Beyond his public persona, Forattini was also a collector and historian of cartoon art. He donated his archive to the Triennale di Milano, and in 1997 he received Milan's Ambrogino d'Oro, honoring his contribution to Italian culture. On November 4, 2025, at the age of 94, Giorgio Forattini passed away in Milan. The world of satire paused. Media outlets remembered the king of Italian political cartoons. When we look back on his work, we see more than funny drawings. We see a lens into power, into folly, into society. His legacy lives on in every editorial office that dares to draw a politician with critical eyes, in every young cartoonist who refuses to be silent. Giorgio Forattini taught us that humor is not trivial. In the hands of the observant, it becomes resistance. Gopichand Parmanand Hinduja was a titan, but one who preferred the limelight only when it served a purpose. Born on January 29, 1940, in what is often recorded as Iran, though his family roots lay in Sindh, he would become the driving force behind one of the world's great business dynasties. His childhood was steeped in trade and ambition. His father, Parmanand Deepchand Hinduja, had built a modest trading business in textiles, tea, and spices, and the young Gopichand absorbed early lessons of commerce, patience, and international vision. He studied at Jai Hind College in Bombay, graduating into an environment of limits and possibilities. India in the 1950s was governed by license Raj, symbiotically bound to the state. Opportunities existed, but they were constrained. Gopichand joined the family business in 1959, and the years that followed would reveal his methodical nature. He read contracts twice, valued longevity over flash deals. and quietly built an empire while others were chasing headlines. In the late 1970s and 1980s, as India's economy shifted and globalization beckoned, Gopichand, along with his brother Srichand, relocated major operations to London, establishing the Hinduja Group's global base. Under his co-leadership, the group made bold acquisitions: the purchase of Gulf Oil in the 1980s, the acquisition of Ashok Leyland in India in 1987, and investments in banking, infrastructure, real estate, and technology across multiple continents. What set him apart was not just the size of the deals, but his vision of a family enterprise that acted as a unit. "Everything belongs to everyone and nothing belongs to anyone," he once quoted. That philosophy tied together the business automotive, oil, banking, media, and the family. Yet, even as the empire grew to employ more than 150,000 people worldwide and amass an estimated net worth of $35.3 billion by 2025, Gopichand remained remarkably low profile. But his journey was not free of controversy. In 2001, he became part of the UK cash for passports scandal. After it emerged, he had written to then-Minister Peter Mandelson seeking a UK passport for his brother Prakash. Though no charges ultimately derailed the business, it marked him as a man who knew the intersections of politics and commerce. Later, the Hinduja family became embroiled in legal battles over domestic staff exploitation and internal disputes over control of assets. The man who had built an empire also had to navigate its cracks. On the personal side, Gopichand lived in London, in a mansion on Carlton House Terrace overlooking St. James's Park and Buckingham Palace. He and his wife, Sunita, had 3 children, 2 sons, Sanjay and Dheeraj, and a daughter, Rita. Friends described him as jovial, philosophical about wealth, vegetarian, and teetotal. On November 4, 2025, after a prolonged illness, Gopichand Hinduja passed away in London at the age of 85. Yuri Nikolaev was a voice that transcended generations, a television presenter whose career mirrored the evolution of Russian media over more than half a century. Born on February 16, 1948, in Chisinau, then part of the Soviet Union, he grew up in a world shaped by post-war recovery, political tension, and cultural transformation. Early in life, he demonstrated a remarkable ability to connect with people, a gift that would later define his presence on television and endear him to millions of viewers across the Soviet Union and later Russia. Nikolaev began his career in the late 1960s, a period when television was still a relatively new medium. In the USSR, he joined local broadcasting stations, initially serving as a presenter for regional programs. His natural charm and confident stage presence quickly distinguished him from his peers. Audiences responded not only to his polished delivery but also to a sense of authenticity he carried, a rare quality. In a time when many public figures were constrained by ideological pressures, by the 1970s, Yuri had become a fixture on national television, hosting entertainment and music programs that introduced audiences to the cultural heartbeat of the country. His shows were known for blending professionalism with warmth, allowing him to connect with both performers and viewers alike. Musicians, actors, and even political figures appeared on his programs, recognizing the subtle influence he wielded as a moderator of public conversation. Nikolaev's career was not limited to hosting. Over the years, he evolved into a producer, shaping the structure and content of shows in ways that revolutionized Soviet television. He advocated for programming that combined entertainment with meaningful content, believing that media had a duty to both inform and uplift its audience. He often spoke about television's potential to educate and connect communities, and he worked tirelessly to mentor younger broadcasters who shared his vision. The 1980s and 1990s brought dramatic changes to Russia, and Nikolaev adapted with remarkable resilience. As the Soviet Union dissolved, the media landscape transformed, opening opportunities and challenges for those in broadcasting. Yuri became a bridge between eras, carrying the professionalism of Soviet television into the freer, but more complex world of post-Soviet media, his programs remained relevant, continuing to draw audiences in a time of economic uncertainty, political upheaval, and rapid social change. In addition to his entertainment work, Nikolaev was deeply involved in charitable initiatives and cultural programs. He championed youth education, promoted emerging artists, and supported initiatives designed to bring arts and music to underserved communities. On November 2, 2025, Yuri Nikolaev passed away at the age of 77. The news reverberated across Russia and the wider media world. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel. Many more stories await.